Stay away. No, please. No. Oh, hi everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Retronomicon. Fuck, okay. Today's terrifying, because me and this bellend of a book over here have decided to look at some obscure, spooky games from my collection.
Not so fast!
What the fuck? Dude!
No, fuck.
What the fuck, dude?
Guess you'll have to reach up inside me.
Oh god, really?
It's not my ass, douche. I'm a fucking book or whatever.
No way I'm doing that. I've seen what's inside you, man. You're some freaky deaky shit.
Listen, douche. It's the only way you're gonna get your precious shirt back. So if I were you, I'd get reaching.
Okay. Fucking hell. Okay.
Look, douche, it's not my ass, okay?
Yeah, well, it might as well be. So this is Casper for the PlayStation. This one is based off of the 1998 live-action film adaptation of Casper the Friendly Ghost, the only memorable cartoon character from the Harvey Films company. If you haven't seen it, the film is, to be honest, a very hit-and-miss kind of film, yet it does still manage to entertain me to this day.
Who are you gonna call? Someone else.
Ha! And also continues to freak me the fuck out. It's also one of those early CGI films, and for the most part, the film was an awkward, quintessential 90s production that attempted to reboot interest in the friendly cartoon ghost. While the film didn't really deliver in that regard, every subsequent attempt was undeniably worse than the last. I mean, what the fuck is this? Hilary Duff? Hilarious Dump, more like. And all of these were direct-to-video sequels. Remember those? And Casper never hit the big screen again. Only fitting, I suppose. Now the character is both dead literally and figuratively. But honestly, I remember this game being quite good. Not amazing, but definitely a memorable game in my early years. The game must have caused me some great level of frustration. As you can see here, there's what appears to be a gunshot on the cover. I must have shot it with a BB. Can't remember for the life of me why. Let's find out. So the game starts and whoa, okay, a lot of people worked on this. Okay, oh wow, more. Really? God, so many people worked on this, I'm expecting a work of fucking art. The game loosely follows the events of the film, with Casper, the friendly ghost with his big, wide, cartoon eyes, serial killer smile and a generally jizz-like consistency, is visited at his haunted home of Whipstaff Manor by Kat, played by young Christina Ricci, and her father, played by Bill Pullman. Generally speaking, the similarities to the original film end there, with only a couple of moments from the film making it into the game's cinematics. You take control of Casper as you complete objectives to further the game's 3 acts. First, by acquiring certain items as gifts for those people melting in the bed upstairs, and then by solving the rest of the manor's many puzzles, often defeating Casper's uncles to retrieve parts of the Lazarus machine to turn Casper back into a real child, to resurrect Casper into being living again, turn Casper back into a living child. The game is ultimately a puzzle-solving collectathon, with almost every item that isn't food requiring a specific use somewhere in either overcoming a puzzle such as unlocking a door or defeating Casper's uncles. Stretch, Stinky, and morbidly obese Brad Garrett.
Feed me!
For the most part, the graphics are quite pleasing, if not a bit unsettling, but I imagine that was the point. Casper himself looks a little bit like an inflated condom with a face drawn on, but the pre-rendered backgrounds have an eerie quality to them which leaves you a bit on edge. And for good reason, as Casper's uncles often jump out of chests or vents to do you damage as well as scare the living shit out of you. The animations are actually quite delightful, especially when compared to those lifeless humans upstairs. Oh, the irony. Casper and his uncles look great, and the game does a good job of translating their designs. Casper's morph power-ups, which I'll go into more detail about soon, are beautifully animated, although the game does like to momentarily freeze when transforming, but I think this can be forgiven considering. Where I feel this game really excels, however, is with its sound design. The music is intense, frightening and beautifully scored, with some rooms such as the attic having a very dark and foreboding tone that for kids, I can confirm, is fucking terrifying. This particular track reaches an absolutely incredible climax, which, to be honest, has no business being this good. There are also loud taunts from Casper's uncles greeting you as you enter certain rooms. On your first playthrough, it's completely unexpected and honestly scared the absolute crap out of me as a kid, and it still did when I captured the footage of this video. It still scared me then. So the puzzles mainly consist of flicking switches in a particular combination, pushing objects, and using hidden abilities to overcome certain obstacles and find secrets. You also need to find keys, which can be coloured to open certain doors. But wait. I've just realised something. I'm a ghost. Why can't I just fly through the walls? I mean, I can fly up and down and shit. So why can't I fly through the walls? Why do I have to use keys to get through doors? I mean, I think even Casper does it a couple of times in the movie, so why can't I fly through fucking walls? The first power-up you get is the smoke ability, which allows Casper to become gaseous momentarily so that he may travel through vents to find alternate paths and concealed passages that may contain collectibles such as food or health, keys or chests and doors, or fool's gold for God knows what. Wait, I'm a ghost eating food. Although to be fair, you don't eat it for your health, but what the game calls morph points, represented by the number over Casper's face in the corner of the screen. All of the other morphs in the game require these points to use. I'm going to level with you. I was a complete fucking dumbass when I recorded the footage for this video, and, well, I stopped, take a break, you know, that sort of thing, have some food, and I forgot to save it, so considering how much time I'd spent running around in fucking circles in this fucking shithole, I wasn't best pleased. So in my frustration, I looked up a cheat that would give me access to all of the morphs, so that I could at least show them off in this video, including some I've never even seen before, because fuck off if I ever completed this game. Because I forgot to mention earlier, some of these games' puzzles are absolutely ludicrous and require you to backtrack an obscene amount, with no map. No map. No. There's no map. There's no map. Get out your pen and paper. The game does warn you at one point that you should draw a map to keep track of everywhere you've been, but this isn't until fairly far into the game, immediately after completing a tedious as fuck hedge maze. Absolute bullshit. Anyway, so to get to the cheat room, I have to do this free-flying cheat. To do this, I have to fly up into the uppermost left part of any room, in this case this one, and press and hold up, left, L1, R1 and start. Then you have to release up, left and L1 while continuing to hold down start and R1. Then you need to hold down and right while still holding start and R1, and then I have to press triangle. Hey, it worked! What a load of fucking shit. It's worth it though. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm flying around like fucking mad now. I am God! Now, not only can I fly over all doors and walls, but I can also get into this cheat room straight away, which has every item needed to beat the game, including all keys, puzzle objects, and morphs. Some of these power-ups are needed to get past certain obstacles, such as the buzzsaw morph. Wait, you're telling me a ghost that can't fly through walls, can't even squeeze through a small gap between two pieces of wood? What? While the other morphs have particular uses in particular bosses, such as the hammer morph. There are a fair few others as well, including the ball and spring morphs, and a light bulb. Why is he doing that? What's that? What's that about? There's even a morph that turns you into Super Casper, like he does in the movie. It's pretty cool, actually. And there's this inflate ability thing, which I'm sure serves some purpose somewhere in the game, but all it seems to do is make Casper look like a blow-up sex doll. So, all in all, not a bad entry on the PlayStation. Definitely worthy of staying in my collection. Casper there on PS1. I'm going to go with the retro grade of C for cockamamie crap, but it still has its place, so we're going to hold on to that one. I think you're going to have to do better than that, my friend, because that's not a bad game. Not really. So let's carry on fishing for this shirt. Hopefully no more of that crap. Thank you, sir. Oh, God, no. No. Nope. That's not a horror game. Oh god, that is, but we're not. No, we're not. Not doing that. No. Oh. Not too bad. Heart of Darkness on PlayStation. Don't know what you're doing, man. This is a pretty good game. Right? Okay, so the game doesn't quite count as a horror title per se, it's actually more of an action platform with some animated movie qualities. But if this game's case isn't enough to convince you of its scare factor... Jesus wept! Holy fuck, look at that! Fucking hell. Heart of Darkness is the creative vision of Eric Chahi, the man behind a little game called Another World, of which this game is a spiritual successor. Chahi made Another World entirely on his own and released it in 1991. It was an incredibly innovative 2D adventure game that put cinematic effects in the cutscenes and gameplay. You played as a scientist that accidentally teleported himself into a situation where he must dodge certain death constantly, whereas in Heart of Darkness, released 7 years later in 1998, you play as a young boy saving his dog, where he must dodge certain death constantly. So Chahi's pseudo-sequel follows the thoroughly annoying kid Andy as he's chased out of his class by... Holy fuck! That's terrifying. Later, whilst chilling in the park, his dog is sucked into a vortex in the sky. Hey. It happens. And hey, before you say anything, I'm aware that this frame rate is pretty nauseating by today's standards, but there is no denying the scope and ambition of what they were going for. These cinematics, of which are several minutes long, were all contained on those PlayStation CD-ROMs, and this game is in fact a 2-disc game for that exact reason. Very ambitious stuff. The in-game graphics comparatively are fantastic. The pre-rendered backgrounds aid the transition between gameplay and cutscene, as well as being incredibly immersive. The foregrounds also move, alive with plants and weird alien creatures. They're often silhouetted as well, which adds even more to the atmosphere. The cinematic backgrounds will animate and change, sometimes drastically and suddenly with striking effect. Take this, the very start of the game for example. You jump out of your broken ship and then BAM! Jesus Christ! This immediately warns you how close to death you're going to come throughout the game. For the most part, you're trying to survive and advance to the right side of the screen to reach the end of the level or section, usually signified by a transition into full motion video. Other than the previously mentioned frame rate troubles in the cinematics, Heart of Darkness is one of the most visually stunning games on the PlayStation in my opinion. The sound design is also nothing short of impressive. While there isn't much music to speak of, other than the occasional dramatic sting, the sound effects are crisp. Your attacks and the enemies you fight all have detailed sounds that immerse and scare you even more. The dark creatures that often chase you chirp and gabble as they swarm in large numbers. These revolting worm things, which I'm going to have to talk about later because they're fucking disgusting, skittle and hiss as they come towards you. As gross as these things are, they're also beautifully animated and interact with the background in a way that no other enemy does. But it can fuck right off. Burn it with fire! Now, the one thing that drew me back to this game several times growing up was its striking and almost confused tone. The game would quickly shift from being a playful Pixar-type cartoon to a dark and twisted experience that often leaves you, the player, feeling as scared, powerless and fragile as Andy. Taking this opening sequence again, for example. The game does a great job of just throwing you in and teaching you how to shoot your laser, and then using it to crowd control a bunch of monsters swarming you. You're alone. You're fighting for your own survival against an entire army of these things. A screen or two later, this big-bellied bastard and his posse busts through the wall like BAM! And you're like, oh shit! It's unexpected and it scares the crap out of you. Then this fucker eats your laser, leaving you entirely defenseless for the next section of the game, kicking you back out into the cinematic right in front of these things. And you're of course forced to run. This all happens within the first few screens. It's insane. In fact, you spend a fair portion of the game either utterly defenseless against what appears to be insurmountable odds, or narrowly avoiding traps at any given turn that are hairs away from decimating you. This creates tension in the gameplay that is very valid, and is what makes the game so great. There are these moments where you're genuinely on the edge of your seat as an enemy sneaks up behind you, or like where this giant swamp monster bigger than anything else in the game will eat you whole if you do so much as hesitate swimming to the right. It's horrifying and exciting. Oh, I should have mentioned, almost everything, and I mean 99% of everything, kills you with one hit. In fact, Andy dies so easily and so horrifically, it's actually quite disturbing at times. The animations for his many deaths are terrifying and, well, goddamn impressive. So, here are my top 3 deaths in Heart of Darkness. Number 3. The one where the flying fuckers snap your spine like a fucking twiglet. The snap is horrifying. There's the fact that the thing just starts flying off with your corpse for later consumption. Horrifying. Number 2. The one where he's eaten by one of those absolute revolting worm things. There's a snap, probably his neck breaking, and then the vile creature drags his limp corpse into the hole. I'll never ever forget seeing this for the first time. Scared the fucking shit out of me.
Honorable mentions.
The one where he's instantaneously vaporized. The one where he's sucked into these underwater tentacle sacks. Oh god. The one where he's eaten whole by a giant spider.
Number 1.
The one where he's pulled down and eaten apart right in front of you by one of these crawling demon things. Look, you can see where they've tried to make it look like his shirt, but you and me both know that's flesh being torn from his body. This is a child's corpse being eaten savagely by a monster. And you're fucking telling me that this game's suitable for all ages. Censors today would have never allowed this to happen. And by no means did these grisly deaths cause any controversy at the time either. What the fuck happened? Either way, I'm glad for it, because it meant the game made a lasting impact on my young mind, and made me appreciate how immersive a game could be, and how tense it could make you. Anyway, the game's puzzles are ingenious, if not a bit perplexing at times, and more often than not require a certain amount of trial and error. The game doesn't do much to hold your hand either, except for the occasional hint if you keep dying at a particular section. While I really like puzzles that require you to study enemy patterns and behaviour like this, it could also put a lot of players off, especially as the game also consistently tests your patience, often sending you back several screens, forcing you to redo a section just to have another crack at a screen you're stuck on. And of course, naturally, it's so easy to die from the slightest mistake that you start getting impatient and rushing the previous screens, causing more stupid mistakes. Fuck! Okay, alright. Let's try that again. Come on, come on. It's okay. It's okay. Let's just try it again. It's all going to be fine. So while you lose your laser weapon near the start of the game, a couple of sections later and you find this glowing green rock underwater, and it gives you the ability to fire two types of green projectiles, a smaller, weaker one, and a larger, stronger one. I absolutely love this bit. You soon learn that the larger version is not only more satisfying, but can also blast away walls in your way, take out enemies, although it's by no means as effective as your laser, and allow you to make these seeds grow into trees that you can climb, or turn the trees back into seeds again. You also learn fairly early on that you can kick these seeds around on the floor to reposition a tree to climb. These mechanics become integral to many of the game's puzzles. Like I said before though, the game doesn't do much to inform you of this, at least not until you've died a couple of times. And while I've said this is inherently frustrating, it only makes completing these puzzles all the more satisfying. Although you don't know where the game is going to respawn you if you die, as checkpoints aren't made clear to you, so you better be damned careful when you go onto that next screen. Overall, still a great experience, and I recommend checking it out, which is why I haven't mentioned many of the plot points, and I've also omitted talking about the very end of the game. All I'll say is that it's one hellish gauntlet, but it feels amazing to beat, and caps off one of the most memorable games I've ever played on the original PlayStation. So there you go, that's Heart of Darkness for the PlayStation. Really not a bad game. Really enjoyed this one. It can be very, very frustrating at times, and downright cruel, but I still like this game, so I'm going to give this game a C+ for a cracking but cruel caper. So we're going to hold on to that one, because I quite like that, and I think with that, you have failed, dude. You've actually failed to torture me on this one, so how about giving me my shirt back? Hey, maybe? Oh, like fuck for that. Oh, that's better. Oh, feels different somehow. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to this Retronomicon Halloween special. My name is Matt, and whether you're staying at home watching some scary movies or you're out trick-or-treating, please, I hope you have a happy, happy Halloween. So that's all from me. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time. Subscribe!